last week was round 10, but this week is round 12, thanks to our little midweek outing. We haven't seen those games yet, so no spoilers, please. But we're going to preview round 12 at the moment of the A-League men's competition. The bye is for Auckland, again, despite them playing their game against the Victory on Wednesday night. But the first game, we've got a really loaded Friday night here as well. We got Melbourne City, Phoenix, and then a couple more games to come after that as well. Jacob, let's start with you. City, the Phoenix. How do you see this one playing out?
It's going to be tight. It's going to be close. Phoenix haven't quite looked themselves this season. City, um, I guess us, they're probably in the better form of the two sides. But I think it's going to be a really close run thing. Obviously, we know Wellington will tend to keep things close away from home anyway. I'd like to see goals in this one, but I'd be reluctant to say that that'll happen, simply because
Yeah.
Wellington will focus on defending, and City have had some, goal scoring troubles this season. Um, yeah, look, I think probably the most likely result is a draw, which I don't think either team will be. They won't look at that and go, "Oh, I'm, just happy to get a point." They'll be like, "I want the 3 points." So I think it will probably be a draw, and both teams will be unhappy with it. Uh, this is probably one where City will have the bulk of the chances, and Wellington will come up with something to keep them in the game or something like that. And it'll be both sides will just move on from that. But yeah, I'm just thinking at this stage, from obviously at the time of recording versus when this is uploaded, we won't have seen the midweek games. So, maybe City play really, really well against the Mariners or something. Obviously, we don't know. But at this stage, yeah, it looks like it's headed for a draw.
I think, look, the result that Wellington got against the Jets, I think is a little bit how you're going,
Mm.
like the Jets coughed up such a soft, like, not goal, because it's an amazing goal from Costa, but such a soft turnover. They actually had the better chances in like the
Yeah.
first half, right? So I think coming off to three losses actually before that for the Phoenix, and then a 1 goal win over the Jets, where the Jets had plenty of chances as well to get back in it. I think that's a little soft. I think Melbourne City are playing well. I know they have a lot of injuries. I think Andreas Kuhn and Jimmy Jagger are also out for this game, so that's some changes to deal with as well. But I still see them getting the job done at home, Palladi against Wellington.
I think a draw is probably fair. I think look, we know Chiefy's game plan last year was set up on the road for a draw, try to get all 3 points at home. Look, I don't see how City win this game. I mean, Caputo, Naboo, Lecky, Tilio, all on the injured list. Kuan and Jago joining them. As you mentioned, Jago partially torn Achilles and Kuan with a foot injury. I mean, where's their attack going to come from? There's attacking midfielders gone. There's strikers gone. Do they have anyone left who can play striker?
Yeah, they do
Like,
though. Like their only real one in there that you're worried about is Andreas Kuhn, because
Mm.
they've survived without everybody else. Zane Schreiber will come into midfield; he'll be fine. Who do you play in Kuba's Cohen's like 8? Yeah, okay, that's a little bit tricky, right? But you have Politides, who's been doing really well with Bayic on the left hand side. You have who's been playing in the middle. I can't even remember. Mehmeti. He's been coming in and
Yes.
scoring a couple of nice goals. So I think Kuhn is the one that you're really worried about losing. But I still think that just the run of poor form that the Phoenix have had, City should still have enough.
conversely, I do want to say that I think that victory over the Jets will just sort of like restart momentum for the Knicks, and they'll be very keen to make it 2-2, and sort of get onto it. Like I think I'm going to go towards a draw, but if Wellington come out and walk away with a scrappy 1-0 victory, 2-1 sort of vibe, that wouldn't surprise me either. I just don't see how City get all 3 points on Friday night.
All right, fair enough. The second game in the prime time slot, Brisbane Roar at home against the Central Coast Mariners. Jacob, this is going to be interesting. They've got the Mariners at home and then the Jets at home next week. Do the Roar, so two opportunities that are going to be along the lines of the best possible to try and get your
Yeah.
first win of the season. If it doesn't come in the next 2 weeks, then where on earth did Brisbane even get it from?
Yeah. I don't know. And is Zadkovic even going to be at the helm for this game?
Yeah.
Will his fate have been sealed, or will this seal his fate? It's their best chance to get some points on the board, and they're 3 points behind Perth now, which is just insane to think about, considering, Perth haven't been great. Brisbane have been 3 points worse than them. So, haven't even managed to get a win this season. I think the Mariners will have too much quality for them, but it does represent a good opportunity for Brisbane. But their best opportunity so far was against Perth, and they couldn't get the job done there. So I have exactly zero faith in this side to get a result at any point this season. We talk about with Auckland, it was inevitable they were going to lose at some point. And I think some people are sort of saying, it's inevitable Brisbane are going to win at some point, but I haven't seen it. I've not seen them looking like they're going to win a single game this season, and they haven't done. And I don't think that that's going to be the case here. I reckon the Mariners get it done. I don't think it'll be comfortable for the Mariners, because their wins this season just haven't looked comfortable for the most part, right? They're still sort of floundering a little bit and, struggling, and there's perhaps some off-field issues that Jackson keeps bringing up with players and their effort and things like that. So, they're sort of in a tough spot, but nowhere near as tough as Brisbane are in. So I think that the Mariners will get the job done, but it'll be closer than they would like.
Plenty?
I mean, this is 13th hosting 10th. It's day one of the 5th test of the SCG. That is just... I'm going to make my argument here, and I'll tell you why. You look at this game, and it's a triple header. How this game ever got scheduled into the primetime slot is beyond me. Because just imagine this: day 1, 5th test. You've just watched some of the most beautiful cricket you'll see, and then you take a small break and you turn on the A-League and you get presented with this. If there was ever a game to be hidden in that 5 p.m. Friday slot, this is it. I'm sorry. This is...
They didn't know both of these teams were going to suck at this start of the year.
That is true, but none of us really expected anything good out of Brisbane, did we? And the Mariners, okay.
Lockie did.
They're still going to come good. Wait till they sack Zadkovic. They're on the way up.
Hey, they might hire Balotelli as coach. Who knows? I mean, it's one of those things where it's just this is a game that just needs to be hidden as far away as possible. I can understand a couple of weeks ago Brisbane-Perth being given the television slot, and I said this in the group chat, you can't call yourself an A-League fan until you sat through a negative peak A-League game. But that was almost like a car crash where you just couldn't turn away from it. You were expecting something to go wrong in that sort of game. I mean, this
isn't the TV slot though, right?
No, it is on Paramount Plus, but it is still the primetime slot on a Friday night.
Okay,
I just think that for me, the Mariners, I don't see how Brisbane get a win here. I sort of agree with Jacob in the sense I don't see how Brisbane pick up a win all season. That being said, I did say that about the Western Sydney Wanderers and A-League women, and then they went and pumped Western United 5-1. So, any team can beat any team on any given day unless you're a Ruben Zadkovic Brisbane Roar side.
Yeah, okay. Look, if Zadkovic goes by the time we record this and by the time they play the game, they'll win. That's my prediction.
Oh, that new manager bounce, yeah.
New manager bounce, 100%. All right, the late slot. I think we had this 2 weeks in a row now with the late slot on a Friday.
Yeah.
Perth Glory against Western United. Look, I don't think any of us are going to be predicting ever a Perth Glory win. Look, Western United, best form line in the league. They've won their last 3 games, and I don't see Paletti it ending here.
No, I don't. Just the idea of Perth picking up a win against this Western United juggernaut is laughable. Look, it's only gonna it's only gonna end one way, and as you said, it's going to be a Western United victory. I don't see it ending any other way. And actually, this is where my prediction's going to come in. I think that with the Big Bash going on across the road, I think we're looking at a crowd that is going to be sub 6,000 people.
Okay, less than 6,000 at HBF.
6,000.
Yes, I think it's going to be.
How many other cricket references do you plan on inserting into this episode? I'm just wondering.
I don't know.
At least 2, because there's still the Jets Sydney game to talk about, and then MacArthur Adelaide. So there's ample opportunity.
There is ample opportunity. I'm with you. I think think we all agree. Jacob,
Yeah.
right? Western United.
Well, yeah, the one thing I didn't think I'd hear this season though was Western United and Juggernaut
yeah,
next
true.
to each other. But no, I agree that Western look very good at the moment. So yeah, I do hope that they actually continue because you know, I think that they're in a position where some poor results and they sort of get back into what they had at the start of the season where they feel like they're unlucky and they're not getting results that they deserve, sort of thing, and that can just ruin a season for a club if you have to go through a couple of patches like that. So yeah, I'm hoping they do keep it up. And yeah, I mean, I'm not expecting Perth to. Well, you know, they'll put up a fight, but I don't think that they will get any sort of result from it.
All right, let's go to Saturday afternoon. Newcastle Jets against Sydney FC. Paletti, Sydney FC, they look back to their best with me. For me, even, having no Patrick Klamala and having to put Joe Lolly in at the 9, you've got a somewhat decent winger in Douglas Costa you can throw out there instead. I think they can do okay with those rotations. They look pretty good. And the Jets, for me, still don't have it. And I see nothing else apart from a Sydney FC victory.
I sneakily like the Jets in this game.
Don't you dare.
No, I sneakily like them because this one strikes me as sort of like that classic banana peel game where everyone's just expecting you to waltz all over, to waltz all over the opposition, and then the opposition just gets lucky. I can't even convince myself. I'm trying to convince myself. Yeah, that's it. I don't even believe my own argument that I'm trying to make. Just to be a contrarian. I'm trying, but no. Yeah, Sydney.
Jacob?
The one thing I would say about Sydney is that in games where we think, oh yeah, they'll be fine here, perhaps they haven't played quite as well as in games where you go, oh, this is going to be a tough test for them. Like, you look back at that Adelaide game, you go, that's going to be a tough test for them. And they actually came out of it with, a passing grade, and people going, hang on, they're finding their feet again, Whereas, and then against Victory last week was, well, it's going to be a really tough test. 3-0, obviously, the red card controversy and things like that played into it, but good performance from them. But yeah, then there's some games where you think perhaps it's a good opportunity for them, like against Western, and they end up losing. So I can actually kind of see Paletti's argument there a little bit, and it does feel like the Jets are kind of that team that are going to get one-off wins here and there that make you go, what? And this definitely has the potential to be that, but I think just pragmatically Sydney should be too good, and I think with the sort of football that they're playing at the moment as well, that'll definitely be the case. And they'll be able to capitalize on the errors that the Jets seem to keep making early in games as well, in possession, where they're just turning the ball over really easily. And Sydney are the one team in the league which we know are very, very good in attacking transition, so that's going to be the big threat there.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go to Saturday night, the marquee fixture for me of the round, Melbourne Victory against the Western Sydney Wanderers. I'm interested to hear your opinion on this before I launch off, because I think I have a unique perspective. So, Jacob, tell me how you think this game is going to play out.
A 0-0 with 4 red cards. No,
it's is that your official prediction, Jacob?
No, that's a very high bar. Look, I think the Wanderers get a win. I
agree with you.
I don't know why
you were going to say that, but I agree.
I don't know why, but something about this is just screaming. Victory just cannot get things going, and the Wanderers, off the back of very good performance against Adelaide, where they completely controlled the match outside of a 15-minute window in the first half. They play Macarthur midweek. Obviously, again, we don't know what the result of that is, but I'm expecting they'll probably put in a decent shift there. I think they can get the job done over Victory. Some of their players are starting to come into form. Marcus Antonsen is starting to score some goals, which that's obviously your big test as a striker is, can you score goals? And he is at the moment. They do have Shikluna out, which that could play a massive factor into it.
That's that midfield battle. You'd think Melbourne Victory would have the edge, but on either end, you'd almost like, obviously Western Sydney going forward are going to be immense.
Yeah, Milanovic, Krajev has started to find some form. I mentioned Antonsen as well. Zach Sapsford too. I think that Wanderers, I don't think that they will control the game like they did against Adelaide, but I think they'll get the win.
Yeah, I just think they're going to score 2 goals. You can bank the Wanderers scoring 2 goals, and can Melbourne Victory do that? I don't know. We saw Daniel Azani get dragged at halftime. I know the circumstances of the game were tricky, but he showed a little bit of his old selfish ways towards the end of that first half against Sydney. He had this good run down the middle that he should have played off to Nikos Fergos, but instead he took a shot from range instead of playing one of his teammates in behind, and then he got dragged at halftime. So I think that is a good statement of intent from Arthur Dillis. I think if you're going to be a manager of a Melbourne Victory side, then you have to have those kind of stones about you. So obviously we were talking about Ruben Zadkovic. Do Melbourne Victory have a new manager by the weekend? Who knows? I'm sure they're looking around. So look, I just think there's a little bit of instability at Melbourne Victory at the moment. I didn't think it would affect them as much as it definitely has.
Has done, yeah.
So yeah, I'm favouring the Wanderers to get an away win in this one, Pletty.
Look, full disclosure, despite the fact I was in attendance for Sydney FC versus Melbourne Victory on Saturday night, I didn't watch a ton of this one because I was doing quite a bit of writing. You can check out that story at ramblaustralia.com.au on Beatty Goes retirement and her farewell, if you haven't done so already. But from what I did see, particularly in the second half, is that despite the red card and despite the changes that Arthur Dials made, Melbourne Victory just had the pants absolutely taken off of them in that game. Even for a side...
Red card, right?
No, that's what I'm saying. Red card aside, even for a side that was down to 10, they still look like they had the pants completely taken off of them. Like, you see some sides go down to 10 and they are still able to put in a resolute performance and they're still able to, make a contest of it. And Victory just never looked like doing that. And that you combine that with the fact that they've got to go to Auckland midweek and then come back. So you've just suffered an embarrassing defeat to one of your biggest rivals. You've then got to go across the Tasman, come back, and then face the Wanderers, who are flying high, after a win against Adelaide away from home. Like, that's a very tough schedule for any side. Yeah, for me, I've got to say Wanderers.
All right, there you go, 3-0. I think.
So I watch Victory come out and win like 4-1 now that we've all said Wanderers.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, interesting. I thought for the Big Blue, a big key factor in that game was going to be Nishan Velupillay. He came off the bench the week before and then was not included in the matchday squad this week. So his fitness is still a big question mark. Obviously, losing Zinedine Mashash for a game is another massive factor. He always has that just ability to crack a game open in certain moments, especially in big games like a fixture against the Wanderers is. So they're going to be a couple of blows. And, who do you start on the right wing? Is it Santos? Is it Arzani?
On the plus side there, it's only... like Mashash doesn't have to travel to New Zealand. He because of the red card, so he gets to stay.
Oh, of course. He plays this game.
Yes, yeah. So he gets to stay. He gets to stay in Australia. He gets to rest up. Sort of do all that fun stuff.
That. Yeah, you're
so
right.
I mean, that could work in his favor. I mean, to be fair, they could take him over for a training drill or two, but I think you'd have to be pretty. I don't think you'd have to be pretty insane if you're the Victory to take him over for a training drill. When he could be resting up if there's any sort of little niggles or nags there.
Yeah, true. So he doesn't actually miss a week. He just doesn't go on the midweek holiday.
Yeah, that's right.
There you go. Okay. Well, maybe that's a plus in the Victory column again.
Plays into it, yeah.
Let's go back to back with our absentees here. We'll go Christian, then Will.
Okay, so after my 3-vote performance, my prediction for this round is going to be Wellington to defeat Melbourne City away from home Friday night, and Sydney to defeat Newcastle Jets away from home. That's my tip.
So Will's downgraded from the trifecta to just the double, and Christian's gone for a couple of away wins. So tricky away wins as well. So the degree of difficulty is there for both of these guys.
I think the Phoenix over City is that's a
bold one.
Yeah. Like, we were sort of talking about City definitely looked the better side, and even a draw I think would be favourable for the Phoenix. So yeah, I've got to give them props. It's a decent prediction.
No, it's a low bar. It's a low bar.
That was so spiteful, Pletty.
I am nothing if not spiteful.
Yeah.
All right. You want to take us to the final game of the round, another MacArthur Monday?
And MacArthur Mondays. Look, for me, I think Adelaide, they're going to be feeling a little bit bitter coming off a loss to Western Sydney that they feel they probably should have won. I'm sure that Jacob has a lot of thoughts on that game that I will be listening to tomorrow morning on the Roundball Australia podcast. I mean, MacArthur, they're going to be coming off that midweek game against the Wanderers. Look, I see this. I think what I will say about this game is that there's going to be goals in it. I don't know who's scoring them. I don't know where they're coming from, but there will be goals in this game, and that's literally all I can say is that it will be a high goal scoring affair.
See, I think it might end up like, was it MacArthur Adelaide was the first MacArthher Mondays?
Yeah, it was like
right, and it was
like
that 4-3.
Yes,
MacArthur got 2 goals in added time. Exactly the same thing will happen here. Like, that'll be tight because we sort of know both sides by this point. Yeah, Adelaide will come out the gates trying to, get some form back, but then the same old things will happen as have happened over the last couple of games with Adelaide, and they'll concede a couple late, and that'll be game done, and MacArthur will get the win. So while that's not actually my prediction, it kind of plays into it. This talk of late goals.
Yeah,
I think that there will be. Now, this was the difficult bit, was where did I want to set the bar? But I think that there will be a goal in added time in these 6 fixtures.
just one.
I just the one. I wanted to say 2, but then I was like, yeah, but what if they just don't score any? And then I look very stupid. Whereas one, I feel like, it can happen. And I think that MacArthur Adelaide game and perhaps the victory Western Sydney is the other one where the late goals are likely. Like in added time. So I'm going to say there's going to be a goal scored in added time across these, in one of these 6 games. Okay. Somewhere it will happen.
All right, very nice. I think. All right, let me give you my prediction. So we talked about these midweek games as well. There's 3 games, so 6 teams are playing. I think no more than 2 of those 6 teams will go on to lose on the weekend. So you've got Victory.
No more than 2.
No more than 2. So you got Victory playing the Wanderers. So obviously there's a high likelihood that one of those losses will come from that game.
Yeah.
And then Auckland have the bye. So then you got 3 other teams as well. But then if there's a draw...
Mariners, City and MacArthur.
So no more than 2 losses from those 6 teams.
I mean, that's
of those other 3 teams, the only one I can see is MacArthur maybe losing to Adelaide. Would City lose to the Phoenix? Mariners against the Raw, probably not.
But then also, like if there's a draw in Victory Wanderers, then I'm screwed because there's very unlikely to be 2 losses, and then you're not going to give me 3 votes for that. So
yeah, but you said no more than 2.
I know it's still going to be correct, but it's not going to.
It's right. You're further away.
It's where do we set the bar? That's a very
No, I mean we'll take it. We'll take it. It's predictions.
I mean, look,
and then we'll have the discussion once the results are in. Yeah,
it's on the table. All right, that is your preview for round 12. We're skipping 11, sort of. There's like 3 of them this year. I think it's like 11, 17, and maybe like 25 or something. That's like they're the midweek rounds anyway. It's all a bit strange. Let's go and do the votes for rounds 10. Yes. So we have, thankfully, actually, no, this isn't a round to be thankful, is it? Christian, unfortunately, the only prediction to be correct. With,
and he knew it, and he was gloating.
And he knew it, yeah.
And it was awful.
I still think we should penalise him for gloating. Here's my argument as to why we should penalise Christian. He gloated in the group chat multiple times about it. He talked smack last week about my prediction being of a low bar, and I'm sorry, you want to call this a high bar prediction? Like you like this is almost as low, if not lower than mine. Degree of difficulty be damned.
Yeah, like this, but he got it for Letty. That's the problem.
No, I know. No, but we have penalised low bars in the past.
It's not that low. It's not that low.
No, and not definitely not low enough to be lower than ones that weren't correct. Like,
Okay, all right. I'm going to get overruled here. My spitefulness aside.
I don't like his gloating either, but that's because it's Christian. I'm happy to give him the 3 points for a correct prediction.
You know the way I look at it, we're just gonna have to beat him, right? And then
That's
we
right,
can make
that's
fun of
right.
him.
Yeah.
You got to put your money where your mouth is. Christian, congratulations, 3 votes. Jacob and Will just horribly far away. Will, the
I couldn't be
trifectas are
more
not
far
working.
away. Like,
You
I literally could
couldn't.
not have got it more wrong.
Yeah, because Auckland's won, and the 2 teams that could have overtaken them both lost.
Yeah.
So you could not have got it more wrong, which
No.
in a way is impressive in itself.
Yeah.
But no votes for you two. So Paletti, you and I getting votes, great news. But the decision is now who gets the 2 and who gets the 1.
And
Yeah.
it's literally, it's 1 goal in both of the predictions as well.
Yeah.
It's like the same margin. It's
Yeah,
So
it is.
Obviously,
It's-
Paletti's is across 2, so they've hedged their bets across 2 games and averaged them out, whereas I've gone for a crazy goal margin in one specific game and only ended up 1 away. So I don't think it's really a contest, to be honest.
No, okay, I'm gonna do you. Okay, I have 2 arguments here. Number 1, you've already stolen a point off me earlier this year, and you
That's got
admitted
nothing to do with
after
anything.
the recording that you stole that point.
all those points.
And so
I'm just trying
I'm
to be
owed one
nice.
here. I'm owed one here.
You're
That's my
not owed
first
anything.
argument.
You failed. You let your team down.
That is my first argument. My second argument is, have you seen MacArthur perform away from home? This was their equal biggest away victory. They don't perform well on the road. They don't have big winning margins on the road. They don't
Didn't
score
you
a
say
lot
they
of...
could put 6 past them?
No, I didn't say that. I said Christian said that. Did you not?
Okay. Maybe it was Christian.
It wasn't
Classic
me.
Christian
Like,
comment, to be fair.
I know they put 6 past them in week 1, but like MacArthur don't score a lot of goals on the road. So I either needed a ton of goals in Adelaide and Wanderers. Like I needed that to get up to like 6 or 7. I expected the Glory to score at least 1. I will admit that. So I think based on what the fixtures were, I think mine has a bigger degree of difficulty.
So Jacob, let me ask you a question. If there was 1 more goal in both, and we both got our predictions spot on,
I was just thinking exactly this. I was like,
which is more impressive?
Which is more impressive if they were both correct because of the fact that there were 6 in the Adelaide Wanderers game.
Let me just let you don't even have to answer. I'm just going to let you and the audience sit with that, and then I'm going to bring up another point and say that Paletti just said that they expected MacArthur that game to have no more than 3 goals, which means they were expecting.
No. That is not what I said.
Expecting Adelaide Western to also get 6.
That is not what I said, Your Honour. I would like that comment stricken from the record. That is not what I said. Do not put words in my mouth. What I said was MacArthur don't score a lot of goals away from home. That does not mean that I didn't expect them to score 3. A 2-1, a 3-1, a 3-2 sort of scoreline was definitely on the cards. Like a 2-2 was definitely on the cards, right? For Perth and MacArthur. I think that, where I'm at was that just the margin of victory for MacArthur was very unexpected. And the fact that Perth created a lot of good chances, and were it not for a marginal offside call, I would have been correct. That's all I'm saying. You tried to put words in my mouth, and I don't like that.
We always talk about the average of 3.2 goals a game in the A-League, right? So Paletti is essentially saying 1 game to be below average and then either or to get 6 goals, whereas I picked a specific game to get 6 goals, and we both were 1 away.
Okay, so Lockie, using sort of this train of thought that we're on at this point in time, where it's like, okay, Paletti's kind of relying on yours coming off to be able to hit theirs based on that thinking, right? So are we then saying that yours is better, or that yours plus that's technically an extra prediction is better?
No, because we're saying that Paletti had either game to get 6 goals, and they just said that, it could be a 3-2, that kind of score, right? So they have to get 1 game to be below average as a 3-goal game, and then 1 to be massive with a 6, whereas I picked a specific game to get 6.
Or I could have expected
1 game
both
to get
games
5
to go,
and 1 for 4. Yeah,
I could have expected both games to go above the average, which is what I was relying on.
Yeah, so you have more margin for error. Congratulations, you just weakened your argument.
No, I didn't. That's a lie.
You just said you had multiple scenarios that would have given you correctness, but you failed them.
That is true, but I still think the degree of difficulty is
technically,
there.
you had multiple as well, Lockie. Technically,
what do you mean?
It could have been 6-0. It could have been 5-1. It could have been
of course, but that is the probability that's multiplied across 2 games.
I don't think it is multiplied though. Right?
The degree of error is always multiplied.
Yes, but like in terms of if you're looking at a specific number of goals scored. Like,
reach into your soul, Jacob.
You're still then relying on one game either way, because if one's not that high scoring, neither of them will be high scoring. So you're still putting all your eggs in that basket.
I think you should do the good sports person thing, Paletti, and just stand back.
No, because I did that already this season and got screwed, and you admitted afterwards that I got screwed. I'm not making that mistake again.
This time it's actually correct, and you would lose favour here if you didn't
dislike this. Can we put this to the viewers?
We got to decide now.
Because I also don't want to give you points, Lockie, just for full disclosure.
I know,
I don't want you to extend the lead.
Integrity is everything.
But integrity is also telling me...
Okay, Jacob, I'm going to make my closing argument here. And it has nothing, like, I've already made my arguments on the game itself. Do you want to reward someone who's resulted to underhanded tactics and intimidation?
Okay. For that argument alone, you're tipping me heavily in favour of Lockie.
No, look, all I'm saying is that he's trying to intimidate me into walking away from 2 points by saying that I need to do the sporting thing. He's trying to play to my soul. Okay, intimidation is the wrong word, but he's trying to play to my soul.
Very much the wrong word.
Sorry, he's trying.
Accusations getting thrown around.
Yeah.
He's trying to play to my soul, to my heart. He's trying to pull on my heartstrings to, try to, forfeit a point. An argument which already worked once this season, and I can't fall for that again. I won't fall for that again. Look, I believe that I had the greater degree of difficulty here, and we have used that as the tiebreaker before. And I think...
Wait, agree with who? No one's arguing that.
Lockie's argued the opposite.
I have the greater degree of difficulty.
No, I genuinely believe I do.
Well, you're wrong.
Oh, gosh, I hate this. I do really hate this. I'm also looking at it from an averages perspective of the 6 goals in Adelaide Wanderers, which has historically been over the last few iterations an extremely high scoring. There was 7 goals in the last one.
Remind me what the score was in the last Perth MacArthur fixture.
Yeah, but in
what was the last score in the last Perth MacArthur? What was the last score in the last? What was the score in the last Perth MacArthur fixture in Perth?
So long ago. We know about Adelaide squad rotation. Doesn't matter.
I don't like this.
You got to make a decision.
I know I've got to make a decision.
But the thing is, Jacob, you know deep down the only reason you don't like it is because you know
I don't want to give you extra points. I know. That's the really big one. Is like I am tipping in your favour, and I don't want to give you the points because I don't want you to extend
you owe me from last season as well. Don't forget.
What's the standings look like, Lockie?
At the moment,
I know you're a point ahead, right? And then Christian is how many behind you?
Well, even right now. So with his 3 votes, we're even. Before I get awarded votes this round.
So you'll have a lead either way.
Yeah.
Look, I might try to appeal to your sense of sporting competitive integrity. In how far behind do you want me to fall to the point where we're essentially making this a 3-horse race at the midway point of the season?
That's good for Jacob because then he can give you points.
Because it means the fact that I've had the last couple of weeks with no points means that I'm not falling behind in the relative scheme of things either because nobody's catching up. No, look.
Do the right thing, Lockie. Walk away. You owe me one. You owe me one, Lockie. Walk away.
I think that's intimidation, Paletti, isn't it?
Yeah. I think so too.
No, look. It sucks because I do. Yeah, I like the prediction. I like how close it is, and I have to give him to Lockie.
Yeah,
this is bullshit. This is bullshit.
Like it's Yeah.
That's garbage. I'm sorry.
The one thing that was like, because obviously there was a lot of discussion about that. Obviously you both shared the Adelaide Wanderers fixture, right? But I was like looking at, right, let's say it wasn't the Friday games and you just picked like 2 of the Saturday games to score 9+ goals, right? And I was like, if that was the case, I'm looking at it, I'm like, that really is in your favor then, because it is the averages of the 3.2 goals per game. You're going massively over that. But then yeah, with the combined thing, but then I dislike it as well because it's like you got Lockie's, you got this Lockie's prediction plus a bit extra as well.
Okay, let's
and
move on.
I know that we like to do the
Let's go.
We're
running out of time. Let's wrap it up. Let's go. Let's go. We're running out of time. Wrap it up. Wrap it up.
Pletty, here are the standings.
No. Don't give me that crap. Don't give me that crap.
I'm on 16, Christian 14, Jacob 13, Will a decent gap on 9, Paletti point behind in 8th in 5th place. You tried hard.
Garbage.
You lost to the better prediction today.
No,
but I'm sure
don't you give me that crap. It's garbage. It's garbage.
All right, there you go. We're done for today. We'll see you next week. Goodbye.
Why is it always me in this situation? I hate this stuff. I'm just not going to do the next predictions recording so that nobody can hate me anymore. I feel like I've been in like the middle of this too many times where it's like either, I've been guaranteed points somewhere, so I've got no stake in it, or I've completely out of it. So I have to decide. I dislike this thoroughly. It's not a fun position to be in.